The MLB trade deadline has officially passed, and all MLB rosters are officially official for the rest of the year. And here are my official predictions for the rest of the year. How the divisions are going to unfold, who makes the playoffs, how the playoffs are going to go down, and who is going to win the World Series. Is it going to be the Dodgers doing a three-peat, or is someone else going to take them down? Make sure to watch the whole video to find out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down below, and let's get right into it. Comment how you think your favorite team is going to do the rest of the year. Starting with the AL East, I have the Rays maintaining that top spot in the division. They have a huge lead over the Red Sox and the Yankees. However, I have the Red Sox jumping the Yankees. They are currently 2 games behind them, but the Yankees have a lot of injuries with Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton, and the Red Sox have been the hottest team in baseball. 29-5 their last 33. If they keep this up, I feel like they can easily pass the Yankees for that second spot. The Yankees are going to finish 3rd, the Orioles 4th, and the Blue Jays maintain that last place spot. After going to Game 7 of the World Series last year, they finished in last. How does the future look in Toronto? Next, the AL Central. I had the White Sox winning that division. What a surprise. What a great story for those White Sox. Being one of the worst teams the past couple years. Now they win that division. That's going to be a great scene in Chicago when they host playoff games. I had the Guardians finishing 2nd. They've been playing 500 ball, but I do like their deadline, and they always get hot at this time of the year. Adding Foster Griffin and Joe Adell should help them win a couple more games. The Tigers, after trading Skubal and Casey Mize, I think they still have what it takes to finish 3rd ahead of the Twins because they've been playing better as late. They're only a game behind the Twins right now. I have the Twins finishing 4th, and the Royals, who have been one of the worst teams all year, big disappointment, maintain that last place spot. Next, the AL West, one of the worst divisions in baseball this year, as the Astros are only like 2 games above 500, and they currently lead the division. I have them maintaining that spot. They're probably easily the best team right now, as the Mariners aren't playing well, the Rangers aren't playing well, and the A's and Angels are pretty bad teams. But I do have the Mariners jumping the Rangers. They're around the same record right now, but the Rangers had one of the worst deadlines this year, and the Mariners added a couple pieces here and there at the deadline in Taylor Ward and Sir Anthony Dominguez to help out that bullpen. The Rangers will finish in 3rd. They had a terrible deadline, in my opinion. They didn't sell anyone. They didn't buy anyone. They stood pat, and they've been playing terribly right now. I think they're on a 6-game losing streak, slowly falling down in that division in the standings. They were once leading the division only like a week ago, and now they're in 3rd. I think they stay there. The A's and Angels bring out the back half, as no one's surprised. The Angels finally sold, so they're going to stay at the bottom. The A's, after having a hotter start to the year, they've fallen off. And I think that's another disappointing year for the A's, and maybe they can get back on track next year. Going into the NL, I do have the Braves maintaining that spot. I think they just have too big of a lead on the Phillies right now to lose that, even though I hated their deadline, hated it. They didn't bring any impact players. They should have brought in a better starting pitcher, but they didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if the Phillies maybe catch them, but the Braves have such a big lead on them right now. I think they maintain that top spot and host playoff games. Next, the Phillies finishing 2nd. They've been one of the hottest teams ever since they fired their manager, and I don't see that slowing down. They're going to be in 2nd place. I don't see anyone really having a chance to catch them. 3rd, the Marlins. Them and the Nats are kind of interchangeable, but the Nats sold at the deadline, and the Marlins stayed put. So that's why I have the Marlins at 3rd place and the Nats at 4th place. And finishing the back half of this NL East is the Mets, the most disappointing team in baseball. One of the highest payrolls. They have 2 of the best players in the league, and they're in last place in this division. Nobody saw this coming, unless you did. Good for you. Could have made some money. But the Mets are having a bleak future looking into next year. They have some questions to figure out. NL Central now. I have the Brewers, the best team in baseball in my opinion at the moment, staying at number 1. The Cubs and the Brewers, man. The Cubs being in the NL Central is really bad for them. They would be one of the best teams in their division in almost any other division. I think they had a great deadline getting Clay Holmes and getting Kevin Gausman to help out that starting rotation. However, I don't like the Brewers deadline, but they have a big lead on them. I don't think they're going to be able to surpass the Brewers. In 3rd place, the Pirates. In 4th place, the Cardinals. These 2 teams have been around 500 the whole year. kind of going up and down, up and down. One of them maybe can sneak into the playoffs. They just got to get hot, and go on a run. But I don't really see it happening, unfortunately, for those fan bases. In fifth, I have the Reds. I don't know what they were doing. They didn't really sell any of their big guys at the deadline. Brady Singer, Spencer Steer, J.J. Bleday. I don't know what they're doing, any of their bullpen pieces, but they're in fifth. They don't have anything going for them the rest of this year. And the final division in baseball I have to cover is the NL West. I feel like the NL West has just been the same thing the past 5 years. Dodgers, Padres, D-backs, Giants, Rockies. I mean, it was pretty obvious this was going to happen. The Dodgers finishing first. They just got scoobed. They're the best team in the league. They have like a 10-game lead on the division. However, I do have the Padres jumping the D-backs simply because I like the Padres deadline a lot more than the D-backs. The Padres brought in 2 starting pitchers who are instantly going to be at the top of their rotation in Casey Mize and Robbie Ray, while the D-backs didn't add any pitching. They only added Lars Nootbaar, so that's why I think the Padres are going to jump them and finish in second. As they're only a game behind them right now, I would not be surprised at all if the Padres finish the season 1 game better than the D-backs. Fourth place, the Giants. This team was supposed to be good. They have hella large contracts. Endeavors, Adames, Chapman, you name it. But they just sold Heliot Ramos, and this team was really disappointing this year. I thought they could have been great. Fifth place, the Rockies. Who's surprised? Who is surprised? Going into it now, my AL playoff teams. I have the Rays at finishing the 1 seed, the White Sox the 2 seed, the Astros winning the AL West and being the 3 seed, the Red Sox top wild card, Yankees second wild card. We're seeing Yankees Red Sox for the second year in a row. Baseball is cinema when that happens. And the final playoff team in the AL, I have the Guardians sneaking in. I think their pitching is great enough to help them go down the stretch and make the playoffs, while they also added a couple bats at the deadline. So I think those moves will help them get into the playoffs. For my NL playoff teams, not really much surprise. The only position up for grabs was the 6th seed, but I had the Dodgers finishing the number 1 seed, Brewers 2, Braves 3 winning the NL East, the Cubs being the top wild cards by a lot, the Phillies second, and the Padres getting in there after making those 2 deadline moves that I loved, being the 6th seed, getting into the playoffs. AJ Preller bought for them, and I think they're going to succeed and get that final playoff spot, and who knows, they could go on a run. So starting off with the AL wild card, and what a matchup we have. It's going to be the Red Sox-Yankees again. I mean, personally, if I was the Red Sox or the Yankees, I'd want to finish as a 6th seed because then you get to play the Astros instead of each other, because these 2 teams are the 2nd and 3rd best teams in the American League, in my opinion. And having to go up against each other in the wild card series kind of blows. Like the Astros, Guardians, and White Sox are in one half of the bracket, and it's going to be the Rays, Red Sox, and Yankees in the other half. That is kind of just ridiculous. The top 3 teams are in their own bracket. The bottom 3 teams are in their own bracket. And I also have the Astros vs. Guardians. Going into this series, Red Sox, Yankees. Yankees took them down last year in 3 games. However, the Red Sox bolster that rotation. They don't have Brian Bayo starting game 2. They don't have Connolly Early starting game 3 this time. They're going to have a rotation of Sonny Gray, Payne Tolley, Ranger Suarez, Jake Bennett, and maybe Garrett Crochet if he comes back. That is a recipe for success in the playoffs. Pitching wins playoff games. And the Yankees, who knows when these guys are coming back, and Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton, if they even do. And the Red Sox have the best bullpen in the league. So I think the Red Sox take down the Yankees in this wild card series. Next, the Astros vs. the Guardians. This is kind of a tale of 2 teams. The Guardians are a pitching dominant team while the Astros rely on their offense. I think the Astros have the best player in the series in Yordan Alvarez, and he's going to have 2 to 3 big swings that helps them win this series and move on to the ALDS, getting back into the playoffs, and the Astros are scary when they're in the playoffs. Everyone knows that. Next, NL wildcard. Man, this wildcard series for both leagues are amazing. The Cubs versus the Phillies, that is one of the best matchups you'll see in the wildcard series. The Cubs making back to the playoffs 2nd straight year. The Phillies back in the playoffs once again. However, I think this Cubs team is much better, much well-rounded than the Phillies. They added starting pitching, having Kevin Gausman, Clay Holmes ready to go in the playoffs. I think that can match up well against the Phillies. However, the Phillies, man, if you're going into a 3-game set with Christopher Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, and Jesus Luzardo, I don't see you losing that series. So I have the Phillies moving on. Psych. The Cubs are moving on to the the NLDS because that offense is going to cook. Next, the Braves versus the Padres. Sorry, Philly fans, I kind of got you on that one. The Braves versus the Padres. The Padres sneak in. I don't like the Braves deadline at all. I don't like the rotation. Who is going to pitch game 2 and 3 behind Chris Sale? Is Chris Sale even going to be healthy in the playoffs? When's the last time we've seen that? I had the Padres moving on to the NLDS because of those pitching acquisitions and that offense getting hot. Casey Mize is able to start one game. Michael King and either Robbie Ray or Nick Pivetta, if he comes back, that's solid enough for me. Moving on to the ALDS. It's the Rays versus the Red Sox, White Sox versus the Astros. This is a great ALDS. The Rays versus Red Sox, another divisional matchup for the Red Sox. But the Red Sox have shown, man, they're resilient. They're not going to back down to anyone. They just recently swept the Rays in a 4-game series. I don't think they're going to win in a sweep in the ALDS, but I have the Red Sox moving on, winning in 5 games. That rotation, that pitching staff, that bullpen is just too gnarly to lose 3 out of 5. In my opinion, that offense, if they just get 3 to 4 runs a game, they will win this series and move on. However, the Rays, I don't think they have the starting pitching to get this done. McClanahan just got hurt. Freddie Peralta just gave up 7 runs to the Rockies. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix him. Nick Martinez, you don't really want to rely on a guy like that in a game 1 of a playoff series. So I just think the Red Sox have a better advantage. The Rays only have a 3-man lineup, honestly. And the Red Sox, they're more well-rounded. They have the consistency. They're more experienced. So I think that's why they move on in 5 games in a rematch from 2021. White Sox versus Astros, I think this is another rematch from 2021, if I'm not mistaken. The White Sox, what a story, man. They win the AL Central. They're hosting playoff games. And I think they're going to move on to the ALCS. I don't trust this Astros team at all. They don't have the pitching. I mean, who's pitching game 2 after Hunter Brown? I really don't know. They didn't make any big moves at the deadline, only bringing Varsho. I think a rotation of Sean Burke and Luis Castillo and whoever they fill in behind them is solid enough to beat this Astros team. Move on to the ALCS. If you told an Astros fan before this, or not the Astros, the White Sox fan before the end of the season, you're going to be in the ALCS, they would not have believed you. But this team is hot. They can hit. And I don't see a reason why they can't beat this Astros team in a 5-game set. They could get hot in the offense. These young guys are coming to play, and they're not backing down from anyone. Next, the NLDS. Dodgers versus the Cubs. Are you kidding me? And the Brewers versus the Padres. These are 2 great series. However, the Dodgers, I can't pick against them. The Cubs is going to get shut down by this pitching staff. Scooble, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Robleski, Shohei, who am I missing? Glasnow. Like, they're not losing a 5-game set. I had the Dodgers winning in 3-1. Whereas the Cubs will probably sneak one out at Wrigley due to the weather conditions or something. But the Brewers versus the Padres, NLDS, I don't think the Padres have what it takes to beat this Brewers team. This Brewers team is too consistent. They play the game too well to beat this Padres team. I have the Brewers sweeping in 3. Moving on, ALCS 2026, the Battle of the Sox. Who would have saw this coming even 2 months ago when the Red Sox were the worst team in the AL and the White Sox as a young and up-and-coming team? However, I think this Red Sox team is way too good for this White Sox team. I just think it's how the bracket drew out that the White Sox will make the ALCS because the Red Sox had to play the Yankees and the Rays, and the White Sox had to play the Astros. So I just think the way the bracket went out, this is how the White Sox easily get there. But this Red Sox team just swept them last series they played them. They're currently up 1-0 in the series they played them, beating them 14-2. This Red Sox team is hot, and they have no signs of slowing down. Adley Rutschman's going to be back. Most likely Roman Anthony's going to be back. So this mediocre or middle-of-the-pack offense is getting big reinforcements coming up. I think the Red Sox are going to win in 5 games in the ALCS to advance to the World Series. Who would have thought the Red Sox, after starting 32-46, are now going to be representing the American League in the World Series? If Garrett Crochet comes back, even as a bullpen role, that's just something you can't deny is a royalty and a luxury. This bullpen is elite. This rotation is elite, and I do think they have what it takes to make the World Series. Even though I might have some Red Sox bias, being a Red Sox fan, I I think this team's the best team in the AL. And it's not really close right now. Next, the NLCS, a rematch of last year. Brewers, can they defeat Scooble and the Dodgers? Something they weren't even able to do one time in that series last year. But this Dodgers team is better than last year. This Brewers team is better than last year. But this Dodgers team is a force to be reckoned with. And I don't see the Brewers taking them down. Even though the Brewers are one of the best teams in baseball. They play the game the right way. They just didn't go for it at the deadline enough, in my opinion. Bring in Dustin May and Antonio Senzatella. That's not enough to take down the Dodgers, who went and got Tarek Skubal. They went after it. The Brewers didn't, and that's going to come back to bite them as they're going to lose in 5 games in the NLCS. So, the 2026 World Series is going to be cinema. It's Boston versus LA, one of the most heated rivalries in all of sports. A rematch of 2018. Can the Red Sox do what they did again to the Dodgers 8 years ago and go into LA and beat them in 5 games? I don't think so. This Dodgers team is just too good. This Red Sox offense cannot hang with that Dodgers offense, even though we just saw the Red Sox go into LA and sweep them in a 3-game set. However, the Dodgers are going to have their front foot forward. They only care about the playoffs, and it's pretty obvious. So I think the LA Dodgers are going to win the 2026 World Series in 6 games, taking down the Boston Red Sox like they weren't able to do in 2018. But this team doesn't have Manny Machado. This team has Shohei Ohtani leading the helm. And I think they're taking down the Boston Red Sox in 6 games to go on a 3-peat, building an absolute dynasty in the MLB. And someone is going to have to step up and take them down next time they play the Dodgers in the World Series. Is this going to lead to a lockout? Most likely, there's probably going to be a lockout either way. But I have the Dodgers winning it all this year. This team is just too stacked. If you don't have the Dodgers winning it all, what are you really doing? You're kind of just trying to make yourself believe they're not going to do it. But I had the Dodgers. They're way too dominant of a team. And they are going to bring home the 2026 World Series. You heard it here first. That is going to do it for today's video. Make sure you go down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know your predictions for the World Series. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's going to win each division down below in the comments? And thank you for watching. That will be the video.